All right, welcome back to the Space Luchador program. Now today, well, I got a video of a girl that explaining something that is pretty simple. Some would say it's a phenomenon. Others try to use it and it doesn't go their way because it's the classic no contact. However, I want to break it down just a little, go into the details. I'm gonna use my counterpart here to explain it as I insert my explanation in the middle of it so that I could man explain it for you, as they say, and hopefully you get something out of this video. So before we start, help me help you by buying me a coffee and supporting me and my channel so I could bring you more, bigger and better, and dedicate more of my time for this, because once I'm done with this video for today, I will be going to the gym and will no longer have time to be making videos, right? At least for today. So anyways, why did I say that? I don't know, right? It just came out because this is what it is. It's real, right? Anyways, let's go ahead and jump in. And I do recommend for all of you to go to the gym, not because you want to get girls, but because you want to get ripped or buff or look good or feel good, whatever it is. But don't make it be, right? And that's another little secret of the, which kind of ties into the video for today. But anyways, enough of my rambling. Let's go ahead and jump in. This is her, right? Counterpart here. All right, let's see.
When women feel the loss, okay? And it's usually after a period of no contact has been applied, okay? Because you can't make a woman miss you if you're always in her DMs. You can't make her miss you if you're still basically in contact with her in some way. I would even suggest as well that you don't look at her stories. You don't like her posts. You don't engage with her in any shape or form.
Now, as ridiculous as that sounds, and I know it sounds ridiculous, right? Because it's like, well, I am there, and why is this, and why is that? Because it works. That's it. And it's not even the fact that you should be thinking about whether it works or it doesn't, but rather be thinking about the fact of why it works, right? Because why it works is the actual answer. It's the actual reason you're doing any of this, right? And she said it pretty simply, right? It's so she can miss you. And why does she recommend you to not even look, right, in any way, shape, or form her stories? Or, therefore, because somebody would say, right? Somebody would say, well, why don't I just delete it? Right? Or remove her or unfriend or whatever the hell it is. Because that's a move, my friend. That's chess. The whole point of the no contact is literally no ghost, right? And what do I say by this? Well, it's like, if you hear a noise, right? Like, let's say you're alone in a room, right? And you hear a noise. Oh, what the fuck was that? You're clearly not alone. Right now, you may have not have seen what the hell made the noise, but there was a noise made nonetheless, and it got a reaction out of you. Kind of the same thing, right? It can't be any kind of reaction. That's the point. So that's how you successfully do it, which brings me back to those that do the no contact, and then it doesn't work. Because it doesn't matter, right, how you think you're doing it if you are indeed making noise, right, and fucking moving around the bushes, right? Now you're a damn creep, right? That thinks that you're doing no contact. But anyways, let's continue.
Now, of course, this is easier said than done if you don't know her in a physical environment. So let's say this is a woman you just met out on a date from a dating app. It's not a woman that you work with or go to school with if you're still a student. Okay.
Let me translate that. Basically, you just met her, so there's nothing to miss. Understand? If she just met you, because it goes both ways. People forget this all the time, right, when they're telling their story. It goes both ways. They never look at the other side, right? If she just met you, ain't nothing to miss, right? Because she's gone through her whole damn life. Think about that. Her whole life without you. And she met you yesterday, and you expect to do any kind of move, right? It means nothing. You are irrelevant. You didn't exist up to like yesterday. You made no damn impact, clearly, because you would have woken up in the same room with her, right? The next day. But that's a whole nother thing. Anyways, you get the drift, right? There it is. Just like that. So most of this shit doesn't work unless you've had the time. And this is what I mean by the work, the time. Which, again, is irrelevant or relevant to this video. Time. That's what it's all about. Time. Both ways. Both to miss you and to have a reason to miss you in the first place, right? Because you can't miss shit that happened like 2 minutes ago. Not how it works.
It's much easier to apply no contact if you don't have to actually see her every day or on a regular basis. It could even be a woman that maybe, was your ex-wife or something like that, or an ex-girlfriend, and there's still things that sort of, you still kind of have to see her because maybe you've got kids or maybe you've got divorce papers and, you've got to go to court and things like that. So sometimes it's very difficult to do that.
Yes and no, because now you have the history. You just got to know how to apply it. Now, she went the other route. I went this route, right? The whole newbie to the old, well, she's the ex-wife or whatever, right? And you have to see her, so you can't do a no contact. But yes, but you can, every time she sees you, she don't see who you used to be. But anyway, we're not talking about that today. We're talking about basic, normal, beginners, no contact, right?
Completely do no contact with a woman in that way. Okay, but what I would suggest to those men who are watching this video who do have to see this woman.
Do you want free internet?
Not
forever?
Really.
You got it. We're offering free
forever?
fiber-powered internet when you switch.
Okay.
In question every day.
How dare they do their damn plugs in my videos, right? But there you go. They get me all the time.
Is to, so let's say, for example, you know them at work or at school. Then what I always advise to do is to imagine the most neutral person that you can think of in your workplace or who you go to school with. So they're an acquaintance, so you know them, but you're not really bothered about them by that much. You're just, you see them, you acknowledge them, you're polite to them, but that's it. That's about as far as it goes, because they're not necessarily a friend. You don't hate them either. They're just someone who you just sort of say hello to and say good morning to and are friendly with.
Let me translate that again. What she's saying is the person you wouldn't give a rat's ass, right? If they disappeared, if they got Thanos disappeared, in that very moment, you'd be like, who's that person again? I don't know. That's what she means. Basically, you could care less, right? Which again, it's easier to say, hard to do.
So that's how you must treat a woman who you go to school with or you work with, that you still, kind of maybe want to attract back into your life, or perhaps, like, as this video suggests, you want her to feel the loss of you.
Now, let me explain that even further and actually try to do it simpler, right? Understand what she said. What she's saying is do this so that she can be attracted to you again, or in any way, shape, or form interested in you. And how do you do that? Right? How? Remember, I said, it's not if all this shit is crazy or stupid or makes no sense or you don't agree with it. It doesn't matter. It's the why it works, right? Once you understand the why, then everything falls into place. I'm going to tell you the why and how simple it really is, right? Because you're triggering the very fact, right? It's the insult of it. It's the how dare you. I just got Thanos the way. You didn't see me disappear into little tiny pieces of ash. And you can care less. How dare you, right? That's the why. Understand? That's the why. When she's looking at you disappearing, going, yeah, right? I'm out of your life. It's gonna hurt you. And she looks over and you didn't even notice. Right? I mean, it's funny. It's funny. And I wish I had some, animation skills, because I would bust a whole ass video in the back showing you exactly how that would be visually, right? But just for now, you can imagine it in your little brain, right? She's disappearing. She's doing all this drama work, only to look back and your ass wasn't even aware. Right? You didn't even know it happened. Well, you just insulted her and all her whole ass performance and existence. And therefore, that's why it works. She comes back at you because she has to, right? She has to. She has no damn choice. You understand? It's the principle of the insult. It's the comeback. It's all of that. That's why it works. But you shouldn't care why it works. Just know that it works so that you can use it, which is my whole point of all my videos, the Space Luchador program, and everything I've been trying to teach all of you, my viewers, at least the loyal ones, because some of you, they ain't no longer with us, right? And not in that bad way, but you know, I lose subscribers here and there for whatever reason. I wish they could just be like, well, I'm unsubscribing because of this. I want to know why. What made you unsubscribe, right? But anyway, that's my own personal thing. I would like to know why, right? Because I'm just that type of dude, curious, right? Also, what makes people subscribe? Anyway, I'm going off on other things. Like I was saying, to bring it back home, yeah, understand why it works. And then once you understand and forget about everything else, because, you know, a lot of people, and I do this in real time, trust me, I coach people in real time, and I try to explain everything, right? And as I'm explaining, they get stuck on one little thing. But why did you say all? And I was like, because it is all. But why all? You like, damn, that's not the, forget about the all and understand what I'm explaining over here. But they can't seem to let go of the all. And I understand, right? Because at the end of the day, they're programmed. They're part of the matrix. There's nothing we can do, right? But I'm trying, right? Trying to pull them out. But for some reason, some of these, you know, some of them are so plugged in, right, that they refuse, right? Which brings me back to my unsubscribing group, right? But anyways, enough of my rambling. Let's finish up this video.
So what this shows then to the woman is that you're still friendly, still polite, you know, but you're not treating her, you're not giving her special treatment. You're not even negative treatment, because positive treatment might be when she's around, you might start acting really enthusiastic, even if it's not around her. You know, she's like, let's say for example, she's in the room and you know she's in the room, and because you know she's in the room, you're sort of performing in some way. You're being enthusiastic. You're
Now, what did I just say about performance? Trust me, they know, right? They know and take all the credit. Understand that, right? They live off this. They live off walking in the room and seeing everybody light up in all sorts of different ways. From mass kissers to glazers, right? To creepers, to attention seekers, to haters, all of it. All under the sun, because this fine-ass woman came in the room, right? They changed the game, and that is a reality, and that's a fact, right? But understand, again, you can't control any of that, but you can control your side of the acting, your side of your glazing, your side of, right, kissing ass and all of that. You can control that. And understand, there's no better way to get someone's attention than to be the bad actor, as they say. Anyways, all right, you're going to get the director's fucking attention, right? They'll be like, what the hell? That's not what you were supposed to do. So why in the hell are you doing it? And that's the whole point, right? Understand, again, I always say, the why. It's so simple, it really is, right? It's, once you understand all this ridiculous, because it is ridiculous. It's, you know, damn near mumbo jumbo. I was like, how the fuck? How is this a reality? But it is. This is the reality. This is the way it is. Understand that, right?
laughing too much, you know, she's going to be able to tell that your behavior has changed because she stepped in the room. Okay.
What did I just say?
Because on some level, she probably knows you quite well because you've been talking to her. So she'll know if your behavior begins to change. But there can also be a negative side to this as well. And you could be giving her negative treatment too. Like,
oh, yeah, she knows that you've just turned into a complete bitch, like I said, right? From the creepers to the haters to the glazers to the ass kissers to all of it. They know, and each one acts exactly how they are supposed to act, depending on your post, right? Or your, what would be your lines, right? Like say you were the hater in this case, right? Not the bad actor, but the hater. And you're doing your part, right? You've become the hater in the room, and trust me, she knows, and therefore all of your dumbass little tactics just went out the dumbass window. Why? Because you did exactly what she wanted you to do, right? Feel some sort of butthurt way, and now you're sitting there hating. And that's how simple it really is, right? And I don't even know if we should continue with the rest of this video because it's pretty long, but just understand, right? 3 minutes in, I gave you a good explanation. No contact. I've showed you behind the ropes, right? Or I showed you the ropes of how all of this works, right? Even simple things like even yourself, because it works both ways. You going and stepping into a room and things changing and you noticing, you just got to know what's going on, right? The dynamics of everything. Read the room, as they say. And most of you out there don't read the room, right? And trust me, right? Usually it's a good room, believe it or not. And you drop the ball because the biggest enemy, I always say this, the biggest enemy is ourselves. We can't do nothing about the cock blockers. Matter of fact, if you're good at this, you can use that to your advantage, right? But again, you got to know what's going on, right, in the room.
Like you might be mean or cold to her or distant. Or you might even be just sulking in the corner each time she comes in the room. And you're having a little self-pity party, basically, because you've broken up and you didn't want to break up, or she rejected you and you didn't want her to reject you, or she lost interest and you didn't want her to lose interest. Whatever the case may be for you, you got to treat her like basically what she's done hasn't bothered you, which is why you just imagine that she's that neutral person, right? You can even imagine that person's face just slapped on hers whenever you see her, and just be just for example, what might help you is just notice how you behave around people who you're quite neutral around, who you say good morning to, who you say hello to. You might have a bit of back and forth, but that's about as far as it goes. So just notice how you are with those people.
Now that's a big ask, and I'll stop it there, right? Because trust me, I coach a lot of people, right? And I've seen this. The biggest problem of them all is this right here, the unawareness. I don't know what it is. There's a lot of people that just barely operate, right? They can barely breathe. And that's because they're not, right? They're not responsible for breathing. Remember, breathing is automatic. And so when I say they can barely breathe, I'm telling you, the lights are on, but no one's home. So for me to ask, right, of just any rando to just be aware, right, is a big ask. But for you, my viewers, understand, right? Again, plenty of them, but one of you, right, which is all it really takes. Just one of you to get it, and when everything starts changing, right? You have to want it though. You have to want to do the work. And understand that's how simple this is, right? Again, to wrap it up, it's the no contact, right? How plenty of videos out there on the internet telling you how the hell to do it and why this and that. I am trying to show you why it works, so that you can finally get it around your head and understand that it doesn't matter why it works, right? Or that it works. But understand how to apply it. You shouldn't care, right? That's like, what is this? I'm going to tell a quick story and then we'll end with this, right? So, I used to take economic classes and I never learned a damn thing, right, in the class, other than one thing that my teacher said I don't remember, around the end of the semester, back in high school, right? Taking economics. And I didn't get it. I didn't learn a damn thing. And this old ass lady, who was my teacher, who I no longer remember the name of, but she said, the crazy thing about economics is that it's simple for guys to learn. And for some reason, it clicked in my head that this is something important. And I recorded it, right? And to this day, it stayed with me for all these years, right? And she said this. She said, it's simple for guys to learn economics because you ask no questions. Right? You just do it. And then she turned around and looked at the women, right, in the classroom and said, For you, however, right, it's going to be hard for you to learn because you ask all sorts of damn questions that doesn't help you in the economic sense, right, in the mathematics. And since then, and moving forward, right, I think it's one of the greatest tools I've ever learned. She's right. It's true. Now, it took me a couple years to understand what I learned that day. So I give it to you here today, right? I don't care how the economics works or why it works, how math just works. I just do it, right? 1 + 2 = 3. That's it. I don't ask why, how, should it not. It doesn't matter. Just understand what it equals. That's it. And you will get good at it. So there you go, right? And as a bonus, I learned that day, right? That just like she said, she looked over at the woman and said, for you, however, it's going to be hard because you ask all these dumbass questions. So there you go. I hope you understood and learned and maybe take a little bit of wisdom, right, of the stuff that I learned and understand what I mean. I could explain all of that and how I understand it, right? But I want to just give it to you like that, and so that you can take it yourself, right? And take out of it what you need to take out of it, right? Study it, check it out, ponder it, right? Brain food for you. Why? Oh, why? Do men not ask questions? But women do. So there you go, right? I will see you on the next Space Digital program.